Horns up.
Stand and deliver. Pay attention.
News from across the NFL and the Minnesota Vikings in association with VikeFans.com. With your hosts.
Like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
The Lockstar Al Hiram.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
And Jason the Beast Barrow.
They think he's a righteous dude.
That was awesome. Oh boy, is this great!
And welcome to another episode of Horns Up, the Rock and Roll Weekly NFL podcast specializing in the Minnesota Vikings. I'm your host, the Lockstar Al Hiram, and with me is Jason
the Beast
Barham. Yes, we're back again for week 3 in the NFL, covering all that is, all that happened, and all that was, and maybe what will be, although our prognostication skills need work. Week 3 is complete, and a slice of normalcy returned, because week 2 was ridiculous. You got to admit that, man. Those scores, those upsets were just absolutely ridiculous. And week 3, we saw kind of a return to normalcy. And before we get to that, before we get to all the details of that, what you drinking there, sir?
A little something different. I'm definitely not doing the Coors Banquet beer this week. Going on a little diet, going with the clear liquid, going with a little Mountain Dew and a little vodka.
All right, well, there you go. Hey, that's a good diet. Mountain Dew and vodka diets always work.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm doing Jameson and Surly Furious because Costco has Surly in a cooler now, and it's awesome. Oh, it's such a good thing.
If only I had some chicken.
Oh, yes. Hey, man, if you would have showed up, I had an extra thigh. I would have gave it to you.
Oh, man.
Well, you know, it happens that way. Some news from around the NFL this week, stuff I noticed anyway. We had no weird, at least I didn't notice in the news anybody leaping out and being complete jerkwads or dumbasses or anything like that. But Cortana, that Microsoft search engine, went 11-5 again this week. Jesus, Christmas. What the hell, man? Cortana. And it's not even like, oh, wow, it's just crazy. I mean, well, and then again, if you compare it to Siri, though, Siri's probably gone 1-28 over the season so far.
I did awesome last week, 14-2.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Screw you, Cortana.
I think I did 9 and something or 10 and something. I don't know. All I know is my fantasy teams look like a MASH unit.
God, garbage. Total garbage, man. Jeremy Hill and Marshawn Lynch are absolutely killing me.
The Marshawn's killing me too, man. It seriously, it looks like I'm waiting for Hawkeye to show up and start doing surgery. I have so many injuries. I swear to God, this week I have 2 teams that are like half of them are out. And it's like, well, I don't want to dump them, but damn it. What do I do?
Teddy got dumped.
Yeah, who got dumped?
I dumped Teddy in a couple of my leagues.
Oh, well,
For the red man, firehead, whatever you want to call him, Andy Dalton.
Well, Andy's been having a hell of a beginning of a season, and that's scary, and that is another sign of the apocalypse. I mean, the Ginger Ninja can only go so far, and he's exceeded that.
I like that one.
Yeah, right. Let's see what else happened here. Peterson gave birth to a kid. This time, actually, with a wife. That was a good thing, right? Axel Eugene Peterson. Do you think
so another AP, huh?
Right, another AP. Do you think Guns N' Roses had anything to do with that name? Because it's AXYL. It's Axel, right?
Except it seemed like he came out of the jungle in that game.
Oh, nice. Nicely done. Well played, sir. But actually, Axl Rose is AXL, right? Yeah, it's just there's no Y. But anyway, that being said. And then Roethlisberger being out 4 to 6 weeks. Another injury to my fantasy teams. I've had him on a couple now, and I play so many fantasy teams, it's ridiculous.
Oh, really? It's another injury to another quarterback, franchise quarterback.
Right.
Romo, Breeze, no Roethlisberger.
Well, Breeze will be back soon.
He's piling up. And we can probably add another quarterback to the list after this next week's game.
Oh, you think we're going to do that to Manning, huh?
Well, look what we did to Rivers. He ain't going to move like Rivers. The only thing he's going to be able to try and do is throw them short, quick passes. And right now, I don't think that's even going to do anything.
Well, it all depends on the scheme, but we'll get to that part later. That's part of the whole breakdown and rolling the bones and that kind of stuff.
Man, I always like getting way ahead of myself, even like last week of talking about the draft already.
Yeah, the drafterbation. Yeah, we were all there for that one. All right. That means, though, it is time for our high-speed cruise around the NFL. Week 3 started on a Thursday with a game that was as yawn-worthy as we predicted last week. It really was. With the Giants beating the Skins 32-21 in a matchup that future generations will wonder why it was on television. It really could have been a honeymooners 3-hour marathon and people would have felt more satisfied, although Odell Beckham gets the part of Ralph Cramden as he's easily the most entertaining part of the show.
And best hair. Head and shoulders.
Head and shoulders. Ass whippings aplenty marked the Week 3 in the NFL with the Cards shellacking the Niners 47-7, the Bills stampeding the Finns 41-14, and the Patriots with a blowout worthy of a Haynes endorsement absolutely decimating the Jaguars 51-17. Hey, maybe another uniform change to a less god-awful scheme may benefit the Jags. They really have the worst uniforms ever. I mean, ever. Who designed those? They should be shot.
I don't know. I think Tampa Bay, man, their uniform, the jerseys look terrible.
Dude, they're okay.
Plus their helmets, it's like, put a bigger logo on. Come on, you got it, Broom. Put it bigger.
Seriously, though, that gold front, black back helmet,
it's goofy.
Oh, my God, that's horrifying. Wow. The Seahawks achieved the rare goose egg against the Bears by 26-0, prompting the Bears to hold an immediate sale of all players, staff, and fans to any team interested in taking them. At the prices they're offering, I might nab a fan or two if they have the skills to make a muffaletta, or if they can at least deliver me Portillo's on a weekly basis. You ever had Portillo's?
No, I have not.
That shit is awesome. Oh my God.
Is it like a Cuban?
It's a hot dog. It's the original Chicago dog. And Portillo's, man, you go in there and I swear you walk out 10 pounds heavier, which explains most Bears fans, but oh God. So good. Yeah. They know how to eat. I give them that.
It's a good damn goddamn hot dog, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's the good dog there. Yeah, you bet. The Bears dog. What's the Bears dog? It's in a bus and it has Mike Dick on a bun.
Best part of this goddamn game is a goddamn good hot dog because this team sucks. Bear dog.
Oh. In other scores around the league, the Bengals laid more stripes upon the woebegone Ravens, dropping them to 0-3 by a score of 24-28. The Aints ain't managed to pull a win in Week 3 versus the Panthers by a score of 27-22. Yes, I said Panthers. The Texans roped the Bucks. Hope for a good team back, winning 19-9. The Beagles tried to emulate Westminster with a win over the Jets by 24-7. The Raiders continued to cement their legacy as a hipster pick, beating the Browns 27-20. The Falcons took advantage of 90% of Dallas being injured and won 39-28. The Colts snapped their winless season against the Titans 35-33. The Steelers, I guess they won, but man, 12-6. I've seen more scoring at the 4-H Club annual Tony Danza auction. The Broncos established the Lions' inferiority complex by a score of 24-12, and the Chiefs almost came back against the referees, just missing the fourth quarter by a score of 38-28. Oh yeah, there were some assholes in green and gold that played too. And finally, the newly bloodthirsty Vikings took Rivers behind the woodshed enough that he was pulled with 6 minutes to go in regulation and delivered a remarkably solid beating to the Chargers, winning 31-14. That being said, let's break it down. So yes, it is time for the Vikings breakdown. Before we get to that, a couple of things from last week's game and affecting the future of the Vikings we want to make note of real quick here. First of all, those of you who are listening and or worried about it, Xavier Rhodes has passed concussion protocol. He was a full participant in practice today, so he should see the field against the Broncos. Yes, I'm calling him that from now on, man. Even in my articles, I'm writing him as Broncos.
Broncos.
Yes, the Brocco Paytons. Anyways, yeah. Also, the Vikings picked up Brock Vereen, and I think you got something to tell us about that guy.
Yeah, he just was waived by Chicago Bears, former draft pick from them from last year. He has been signed to the practice squad with the Vikings, so back home at TCF here soon.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Man, another thing is Chicago is in full force of tanking.
Oh my God, they are. They're in
Sell
fire
the
sale
house,
mode. Yeah.
sell the farm, everything's got to go.
Right,
As
right.
Everyone probably already knows by now that Jared Allen got traded to Carolina.
Oh yeah, yep.
Bosticles, John Bostic, linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
He also got traded to New England.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now it's at the point right now where if you go down to I think I wrote it in the lockdown this week. If you go out to 3rd and West Addison in Chicago, the players still available will be there. It's $5 for a lineman or $10 for a skill position. Anybody who's still there after Sunday will be put up on Craigslist.
Is Alshon Jeffrey in the trading block? Is Forte on the block? Really, I want Long.
Well, yeah.
Give me Long. I put him back in right guard.
Forte and Jeffrey are not going to be on the block. They're young yet, so, you know.
You never know, man. You don't know what's going on in Chicago, man. It's only been week 3, and they're already selling the whole farm. I've never seen someone already just start selling shit this early.
They're selling the farm because they owe Cutler half the franchise, and nobody's going to take that debt on for Cutler. And they have to pay out until they can drop him, and they have to make room to actually get players in, so they're, betting the farm on young, cheap players. That's what they're doing. That's all they can do. That's really all that's left, man. You can't pay anybody else in that roster more than $10 because you got Cutler sucking up the rest of the income. That's all it is.
Smoking shitbag Cutler. God.
He's hot garbage.
I remember when that whole situation was coming out in Denver, and he was supposedly in the trading block, and Minnesota Vikings were in that conversation because that year in the draft, Spielman was really high on Cutler. They were waiting to pick him. They were actually looking to trade up for him, but Denver made the jump up. So that's why you've seen the Vikings way overvalued Tavares Jackson in that year's draft.
Yeah. We wouldn't have been any better with Cutler. Let's be honest. We really wouldn't have been. But
no. Thank you, Chicago.
Yeah, right. You took a bullet for us, man, and I will go eat some more Portillo's hot dogs for you. And a Giordano's pizza. I'll eat a whole Giordano's pizza. Well, it'll take me a couple of days, but I'll eventually get it down, because those things are awesome, too. I'll do that just for you for taking the Cutler bullet for us. Because, wow, that's a dumpster fire. Whew. Mm-hmm. He's like a hot garbage. If a bag of hot garbage could take a snap, that would be Cutler.
After that NFC Championship game against, was it Green Bay that year when he got hurt halftime?
Mm-hmm. Right.
He didn't even tear his ACL or nothing like that. I mean, it was a sprain, but then the guy sits on the other side of the bench. Doesn't even help the backup quarterback out at all. And you're just sitting over there twiddling his thumbs. Mm-hmm. If I was another player on that team, I would have called them out right away.
Well, and the backup did well enough to actually make the fans argue for a quarterback duel, but that wasn't going to happen when you're paying a guy $20 million a year. It's just not going to happen.
And then you got a guy like we just played last week in Phillip Rivers, who I forget what year it was, but he had a kind of a similar injury, but it come out to be told that he had a torn ACL, and after they lost, that the reports did confirm that he was playing with the torn ACL. I'm like, God damn, man, that guy has got heart.
He's got heart.
That wasn't even for the AFC Championship game. That was for the divisional game, and he's already playing with the torn ACL, and you got Cutler. You're a half away from going to the Super Bowl, and you can't suck it up. Right.
And hey, you know what? You just brought us a great seg to the breakdown. Finally, here it comes, the breakdown. Week 3 saw the Vikings. Like I said, they took Rivers behind the woodshed. Rivers, and you just mentioned, he played through a torn ACL. but we took him behind the woodshed. We beat him up so much that they pulled him 6 minutes with 6 minutes of regulation left because they're like, you know what? There's no point in letting him get his ass kicked anymore. That was the highlight of the game for me, was seeing that happen. I was like, wow. I mean, damn, the Viking horde is on this, man. It's like a screaming tribe of berserkers just pouring through, and they may not get the sack, but they will beat you up. And I love that kind of defense. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
I mean, that's what we all thought coming out of training camp and in the preseason games. That's what we thought we were going to see. And then in the first week at San Francisco, and it was just a absolute stump, man. Like,
right?
Wow, we were totally wrong about this team. 2 weeks later, this is what we thought we were going to get out of this team. And exactly just keep pounding them. And if it was any other quarterback than Rivers, I mean, Kaepernick's tough as hell too.
Right.
But there's just no way. I mean, you can take a beating.
Right.
It was 12 hurries or some enormous amount, or 8 knockdowns. I mean, we hit them 8 times.
Yep. I think there was 2
pounding them.
Yeah, he got beat. And cleanly too. Not, nobody taking cheap shots. Yeah, no rolls into the leg, no tuck and dive thing. And it was just guys getting there 1 second too late. And that is what Zimmer has been preaching about defense. You don't have to have the sacks. It's not about the numbers. It's about beating that guy up until he just says, I can't take it. I can't play like this. This is just too much.
The white flag is out.
Right. Yes. It's the blitzkrieg attack. It's what I've termed the Viking horde. That's my name for this defense, because if they all play the Zimmer game and attack as that big screaming Viking horde, man, that's what happens. You might not get the statistical brilliance of a Denver or of the Bills, but you're going to get just that abuse that nobody can withstand for too long before you're just overwhelmed by the howling horde of the North, man. That's great. I love it. Love it. The other things I noticed from last week's game, I read through the stats and stuff. One of the key things I pulled out, we scored in every quarter. And that's for Vikings fans out there who look back in your own, cartoon bubble over old game stat lines and stuff. That's a rare thing. We scored in every quarter, which meant that we were consistently scoring. We weren't making big, flashy super plays, but we were consistently putting points on the board in every quarter. And that's a fantastic. If you can do that, you're going to win 9 to 10 games. I guarantee you, because you're consistently putting them on the ropes. The other big things to notice, of course, Peterson bringing out his return to form. Busting off that 43-yard run, that was a thing of beauty, just shrugging people off and making them pay for trying to even dare to tackle him, going Hulk mode, I
like that cutback he made, too, on the sideline he made, and then he made that one cut. He found that angle, and he made that direct cut, and there he was. He's just so good at seeing them angles.
He is.
That's why some players, they come out of the draft, and they're so fast, they got everything going with them, but they don't have the vision.
Well, you see,
he has the vision.
He has the vision, and that's where he has that cut and cut back, and that's what he does, and he does it as good or better than anyone has ever done it. But the other thing he does is that he makes the first tackler pay, and I love that. When you're dancing, you can't. There's nobody ever been on Dancing with the Stars that would let I don't know, Hardy Nickerson come in and lay a hit on him while he's trying to tango and shrug it off. That's just not going to happen. You cannot take the hit when you're dancing. But when he's not dancing, he delivers the hit, and that's the best part about it. And that's what makes him spectacular, is that first hit that ends up in another 3, 4, 5, or even a breakaway off of that. That's what makes Adrian Peterson, and that's why we all love him, and we can't get enough of watching him play. So that's my take on that.
I believe Adrian Peterson also returned back to form by causing 10 missed tackles. And the next guy behind him,
right,
in the NFL, only had 5.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He breaks tackles. He makes them miss because every time you think he's going to just run right into you, he shifts. He's got enough shiftiness to do that cut. He has more than one move He can make a back miss, and he can make the second guy miss and then deliver the hit on the third. And it's kind of interesting because it's like a 1.5 second chess match where he's lining up, okay, here's first tackler, there's the second level, there's the third level, here's what I need to do to beat each one. And it's kind of interesting to watch that play out because it's totally instinctive. You hear him analyze or break down a game. He's not aware of where their positions are. He's only aware of what's ahead of him by the next second and a half, and he just has that instinct to either move or hit where he needs to hit. And it works. It works really well, and I think that more than anything is what makes him as special as he is, and I hope that continues.
Like I've been saying, usually the bye week is beneficial about week 7, week 8, halfway through the season, so you get that halfway spot in there.
Right. Yep.
For the Vikings, I think actually after next week's game, so the bye week would be week 5. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a perfect spot because Peterson just being his prime form again here, getting going. The team is looking at getting Sullivan back. I know he won't be back after the bye week, right, but you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks after the bye week.
Yep.
We got a couple banged up guys going into this week. It looks like Charles Johnson. It's iffy right now, but in my gut feeling, he's not going to play. Sendejo also got banged up on his knee. Right. Another play later on in that game.
Did he injure his knee giving Rhodes a concussion? Is that
no? That was
that was a low blow on. He almost took Trey Waynes out, and I believe that was the play where he kind of did like a flip over somebody. Yeah.
And now I like that kind of playing style in the run game when you're coming up right at the line of scrimmage and take a runner out. But I don't like that kind of play when you're already 20 yards down the field, 30 yards, whatever, and you're already out of position. Guy already caught the ball, and he's already making 2 steps, and you go in and make the kill. No, the guy's already in 10 yards to the touchdown. The guy, you just gave up a big play. Tackle him.
Well,
just get him down. Don't kill the guy. And look what happened. He almost killed your own player.
I get that. But I understand where that safety mentality comes in to punish the receiver for making the catch because receivers hear footsteps just like quarterbacks do. I mean, hell, man. Anybody remember us against the Skins and Darren Nelson dropping one on the goal line because he heard the footsteps? That's what happens if your defensive backs get into a receiver's head. You don't, and that's why they do that. That's the safety's job, is to make sure everybody who gets the ball, it pays for getting it. Even if they're on coverage, everybody can't be Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes has more quickly developed the art of blanket coverage than just about anybody I've seen outside of maybe Woodson. Coming into the NFL. I mean, he's brilliant at it. That's why we stick him on every. Dude, man, when you hold Calvin Johnson to what you did, you've done yeoman's work, especially since, we limited Detroit to passing, 90% of the time because they were just getting mauled everywhere else. And you're holding Calvin Johnson, their only hope, back, and he's one of the greatest receivers that's been on the field in the last decade. Hey, man, that's coverage. But aside from coverage, you need somebody to make them pay for what they've done. And that's what they're like, the hockey enforcers of the defense, I think, is what your safeties kind of are. If they're not covering, their job is to make sure somebody pays for catching a ball.
Like Xavier Rhodes and Harrison Smith, I would probably say that them two out of the whole league are the least recognized best players at their position.
Smith is actually rated the number one defensive safety, the number one safety in the NFL.
I definitely seen that. I was like, well, it's about damn time. Pay the man, because these first 3 weeks, man, he's been the shit, man.
He's a fan favorite for a reason because
God damn, man,
he's what Sendejo wants to be. And I don't say that out of meanness for Sendejo, because but Sendejo has his furiousness, but Smith has the smarts to go with it. But it took him a little bit to develop. We remember there were more than one unnecessary roughness calls against Smith his first year. Yeah. But we loved it because he had that aggression. And that was on a Frazier defense, my God, that was a refreshing sight to see.
So like you were saying, though, all these hits that we've been putting on have been clean.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, all these hits, the only hit that I've seen so far potentially that's been launching where it's a potential fine or a flake coming out was a Sendejo hit that he hit Rhodes in.
Right.
Otherwise, every other hit I've seen has been absolutely clean and legal, and
they're playing
just tough,
yes.
physical, smart football, like Zimmer says.
Amen. And because of that, and also because of the unsung heroes, like the last 2 weeks, two of the unsung heroes have been Joseph and Floyd. Last week, remember we brought up in the stats last week in our podcast, we brought up that the Chargers were averaging 4.6 yards per carry on the ground, right?
Yep.
The Viking Horde held San Diego to 28 yards rushing for the entire game. 28 yards the entire game. Right? They allowed 279 yards passing, which against Phillip Rivers is not bad. But the big stat there is he went 26 for 40. And until that game, Phillip Rivers had been averaging 81% completion ratio. That's
I tell you what, though, still though, their top wide receiver, he still put up some damn good numbers for him.
Oh yeah, you're going to. I mean, it's going to happen if you got a team that's pass oriented like the Chargers, and you put them in a position where they have to pass all the time. It's going to happen, right? But one of the big takeaways, and I have to apologize to you before I say this, was a 91-yard pick six by who else but Chad Greenway, who's too old now, biatch.
He's loose!
Yes.
God, PA, man, it sounded like he was about to bust a brain artery in his whole head, and he was ready to go out.
Yes, that was an amazing, a 91-yard pick six by Greenway, who even Viking fans, most Viking fans, some of us, we remember our heroes, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I tell you what, man, we've been hard on them. I've been hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of beat writers around the whole area because they have a point to be hard on them. But that day, it was great to see him make that play for a special day, too. The only game his grandpa has ever seen him play live. He was in the stands. He got the game ball.
Right.
I tell you, hell yeah, man. Good for him, man.
Yeah, it was good for him. And the team, I mean, dude, did you see the caravan he was running behind?
Oh, my God.
That was
all purple.
That was freaking brilliant, man. And that looked like a choreographed dance. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. 4
they
sacks.
All love seeing Greenway running with the ball, too. They're
right.
Like, hell yeah.
So it was like,
hell yeah.
So with Greenway running with the ball, let's be honest, was he like, and Greenway is loose. And he's still loose. He's still
40.
loose. And he's at the 40 now.
In the 30. Now he's at the 20.
There's a 20. Yes. Okay. All right. It's almost there. It's a touchdown.
Oh.
It wasn't the speediest return I've ever seen, but it was satisfying.
Shit.
Yep.
If I was him, I would have went as slow as I possibly could too. If I had seven other purple people around me the whole time, I didn't have nothing to worry about. This is my time to shine.
With that wall, he could have walked backwards in from like the 40, man, and just been like, "Yeah, we got this."
He could even fell down backwards and got back up and still ran it.
Done the Nestea plunge or something. Yeah, that would have been called taunting. But no, I mean seriously, that was awesome team defense. And and we all know Greenway is not gonna, he's not gonna win a foot race against a lot of people in the linebackers of the NFL nowadays. But it was a testament to knowing where to be and where to go once you've got that pick. And it was kind of like, it was almost like a called play. That was the beauty of it. Is like, then that's where a guy like Greenway is valuable. It's not about him being the fastest guy in the world. It's about that everybody's where they should be, and he sees where they're going to be, and he sees what happens. And when it breaks down, when he figures it out, and when it happens, he's got the ball, and everybody is just like in this like a kick return formation, making the wall for him, and it's a beautiful thing. Right. And for a guy like that, he's a great guy too. So super kudos on top of that.
way beyond that. Awesome guy, he in the community and all the charity stuff he does in his off time and everything else that he's put towards the organization. And like I said, community of the Minnesota Vikings, he's beyond a great guy.
Totally. So we had 4 sacks, a 91-yard pick six against 279 yards at 26 for 40. That's a good game. That's a damn good game. The Viking Horde did themselves proud. Yes, I'm saying it again, Viking Horde, because a couple of people called out my column calling our defense the Horde, because that's what they are. They're a howling horde of barbarians, and God help you. God help you, man, because we may not sack your town, but we're going to abuse the hell out of it.
I tell you what, because obviously you can already see a little of the picture going on in the NFC. Yeah, it is only week 3. It's pretty damn early already, but you can see what Green Bay and Arizona. Obviously, it's going to be Green Bay for us because if we don't win the division, we're going to have to fight for a wild card.
Yeah.
Well, how our team is kind of going for our defense right now, I got to say, beyond Arizona, we're one of the teams that could match up pretty decent. I'm not going to say we're going to match up great against them.
We are. Yeah.
This is what you need to do to stop down a passing attack is beat them down and just put them into submission, be relentless, bring the pressure, bring the house.
Right. And I tell you what, you're right. Arizona would scare me way more than Green Bay would. And there's a reason why. I'm not being, just a hater, even though I do hate. I'm not being
full team. They got a full team, defense and offense.
Well, and they also, their offense, I'm just looking at their offense because, there's a whole nother discussion about Green Bay versus Arizona defense. But just on the offensive side, right?
Yep.
Nobody's ever going to sit here and say Carson Palmer is Aaron Rodgers. Not even close. But the talent they surround him with and the decisions they make and the play calls they make. But Green Bay's weakness, and I think you're going to see in the next few weeks here, who they play. Who's Green Bay playing next week? I don't even know.
They are at San Francisco.
Okay, maybe in a couple of weeks, you're going to see people getting what Green Bay's doing. Because, all right, I watched Monday Night Football. I watched the whole gushing and getting Aaron Rodgers' jock, and I watched it, and I hated it, and I wanted to mute the TV and destroy my TV and burn down my house around the TV over it because it's so much. But
because he's good.
He's good. He is. I'm not taking anything away from that. I mean, the announcers are just so bobbleheadedly drooling over him. It just makes me sick. But he's good. He deserves the reputation he has because he's good. Why is he good? Everybody's saying he's got such a quick release. He's got such a quick release. Okay, right? All right. They show these series of plays demonstrating his quick release. 0.3 seconds, 0.5 seconds, 0.3. Well, okay, first of all, they didn't start the clock till after he took 2 steps. So, okay, that's not a quick release. That's just, Anyway, even if he had a 1 second release, that's ridiculously fast, right? Why does he have a 1 second release? Is it because, he just makes decisions that fast? No. Receivers physically cannot move more than 5 yards at that clip, all right? They're starting off, right? He's throwing to a predetermined spot 1 second away. That's what he's doing. And he's very, very, very good at that because he understands his game plan. He understands how to read the defense. He understands where to throw it to. And that's where Rodgers shines. Where Green Bay is going to get exposed, and I'm saying in the next few weeks, give it 2 or 3 weeks because San Francisco's they're a wild card, but they're probably not going to expose anything. But eventually coaches are going to figure out if we interrupt those weird timing routes, if we figure out the system they're using and we can, crowd the line and get in front of those and yet cover, because Jordy Nelson's gone. So they don't have the super deep threat. They don't have another Jimmy Smith laying around or anything like that. That's going to be the first team that gets Aaron crying to the referees again, acting like Stafford even before he gets hit, and being just a little whiny bitch on the field because he's a bitch off the field when he does his press conferences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you can make Aaron Rodgers wait for 2.5 seconds before he throws the pass out, that's the key right there. If he's got time, if you're playing off coverage, he can throw a ball out in a second and a half. He's already, some teams play 5-10 yards off that ball.
Yeah.
Well, the guy already makes like a fake slant in, slant out.
Right.
It's like almost like a double move. He'd get that ball out real quick. That's what Peyton Manning strived on when he had a bad offensive line.
Yeah, you get that ball out fast.
Get it out quick.
Yeah.
Well, if like our defense, we like to do the bump and run. We like to do press coverage.
Right.
That's key right there.
It is. It is. You have to break that up.
Reroute the route so it's not on key. It's not telegraphed in practice what they've been running.
Seriously, man, you got 1 second, right? Like, just, okay, here we go. We're going to time it right here. Ready? Go. All right. There you go. Yeah. All right. So between the time I said go and all right, ready? Go. All right.
I already pooped myself.
Right. Okay. Well, you've got skills and you should seek a competition for that. But I'm saying a receiver starting off the line and then adjusting a route and somehow becoming open. No, that's not what happened. It's a 1 second planned route. All he does is step back and fire to where he's going to fire. And it's it. That's it. You break that up.
You got to play physical.
Yeah. You got to play physical. You got to smash him
passive.
Yeah. You gotta smash him off that line, take him out of that rotation because 1 second he's not going to be 5 yards down the field in a second. He's starting off. You gotta especially bump the run, and then you gotta cut off those weird little slants and inside routes because the receiver's going to be looking back at the quarterback in 1 second. Literally, they're coming off the line and looking at him for the ball because that's where it's going. There's no question. There's no read even. That's why the release is so quick. He's not reading anything. He's throwing right to that spot. 1 second, bam. Because you can't read the field in a second because nobody's more than 5 yards away.
Yep.
So that's what it comes down. And that's why I think they're going to be exposed because sooner or later a defensive coordinator will have the talent and the acumen. Anyway, we veered way off of the Viking breakdown.
I mean, that was a great game, though.
It was.
End it down here. We're gonna finish this situation about the whole story about last week's game, but it is finally what we thought we were gonna get out of the Zimmer team.
Indeed.
It's hopefully we keep it going on to next week where we
roll the bones for Week 4 in the NFL. Looking forward to the Vikings at the Broncos. The Broncos up in up in Denver. Denver, by the way, fun fact, Denver, the cradle of crazy. Seriously, man, I lived in South Dakota for a year, and the only, major network news channel you could get came out of Denver. You would not believe how many crazy people live there. I don't know if it's the air or what. Yeah, have you been there?
Yeah, I love it, man. I've been down to Denver. I've been down to Boulder.
That explains that. All right.
Yeah, I'm crazy. That's where I got my crazy from.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
I got it from my mom.
Leached. Oh well, that's a sad thing. That's a sad thing.
Good crazy.
Okay, not in my mom's case, but all right.
No, the bad thing about her is she's a Packer fan.
Oh well, okay, that is crazy. Well, shit. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. All right, so those of you who want to donate to the Beast's Mom Was a Packer Fund, please go out to
theredcross.com.
text I'm sorry to Red Cross. All right, so Week 4, looking forward. It's in Mile High, Mile High is a gigantic home field advantage. I think they are 24-2 since 2005 at Mile High or some crazy number like that. Not 2005, but yeah, it's hard to win in Mile High. And I think, you've got a combination of elements there. You've got the craziness, you've got the elevation, you've got all kinds of other things going on, and of course, normal home field advantage. But I think even worse than that, the Vikings, since somebody on VikeFans.com, yes, we're shouting you out, guys, VikeFans.com, somebody out there said the Vikings since 2013 are 2-14 on the road. So we're heading into one of the most hostile territories, not like Raider hostile, but like, environmentally hostile territories, right? In the NFL. We're going up against a team that is 3-0 Not because they had a weak schedule. They beat, the Lions last week, and the Lions are not a pushover team, even though we made them look like that. Snicker. But they also have one of the best, if not the best, defense in the NFL right now. Seriously, the Broncos are just total ball hawks. We're last in the league in passing offense and third in running offense. Okay, it's because Adrian Peterson has taken on the mantle. He's the leading rusher in the NFL right now, right? But the Broncos are first in passing defense and sixth versus the run, and they're only sixth because of Jamal Charles gashing him one game.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
and overall,
right?
they are number one.
Yeah, overall, yes.
I mean,
they're vicious.
They totally are a mismatch problem here. I mean, their defense is their stronghold right now, and they're on that team.
They are.
Peyton Manning is not hitting the stride like he used to do in the years past. It's evident his age is definitely starting to show on the play on the field.
It is. Right? Meanwhile, we're 16th in pass defense and 24th in rush defense, and they are 18th in pass offense, but 31st in rush offense, which is seriously screwing a couple of my fantasy teams. However, pointing out yardages is one thing. Our defense is first in points allowed. We're only giving up 16.7 points per game.
And it keeps getting lower every game.
That's basically what's been happening. Yeah, we started out with the bad week, and we've been lowering it ever since.
It was 18,
right?
And it was 16, and then last week was 14.
Right. So looking ahead, what are our challenges in your eyes?
Well, the big mismatch there is that defense that Denver has right now, the 3-4 defense, which would be the third out of 4 games that we've played. We're going to be playing against a 3-4 front.
Good point.
So that's one good positive. I mean, we've played against that front quite a bit, and that's one of the fronts that actually Adrian Peterson, he says he loves to run against, which kind of contradicts what he says because the San Francisco defense has been running that for the last 4 or 5 years, and he struggled against that defense.
But 3-4,
which they got DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller on there, but the stronghold of that San Francisco team has been the middle linebackers.
Yeah, but the San Francisco game, I think, at least
I'm talking years past,
right?
This the first game. I'm
this
throwing
year,
that out. I don't know what the hell we came in with the game plan on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what the game plan was. Apparently, it was the game plan to make everybody else underestimate us. But But anyway, the 3-4. Good point. 3 out of the 4 teams we faced have been 3-4. So this will be number 4 of those. Yeah.
They got really good corners. Aqib Talib. Shutdown corner.
Very good, yes.
Chris Harris Jr., I mean, he's pretty solid. He's not, I mean, for a number 2 corner, hell yeah, I'd take him on my team any day. TJ Ward, he's a kind of dirty safety. Actually, he's a safety that took the low hit on Gronk.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's a safety that came over from Cleveland, actually. Yeah, that's where he came from.
Well, okay, yeah. Sorry. Well, actually, good for him. If you're getting out of Cleveland, everything's good. Everything is awesome. I'm not playing in Cleveland. Yeah, okay.
I mean, but overall, I mean, obviously their defense is their stronghold right now, which is kind of odd to say because when you look at it, you think, oh, Peyton Manning.
Right.
Well, the end is obviously near. If he plays another year after this year, it's going to be worse than what Favre did in his last year with the Vikings.
Right. Okay. All right. I get you what you're saying there.
So this defense is going to have to carry this team in order to be successful in 2015 season.
They are. Yeah.
I think they are lined up. They got personnel to do that in every department and every position. So it's up to Peyton Manning, but I don't think he's going to last. That's where the Vikings come in the defense here is the same game plan they've had for the last 2 weeks. Is pressure. And a good thing that we got Xavier Rhodes. Looks like he's clear to play. Trey Waynes looked pretty damn good already in the half that he played last week.
He did.
Captain Munnerlin's been looking good in the last couple weeks. So, I mean, our secondary, Peyton Manning's only been able to throw them short, not even really intermediate passes. He's struggled highly at them deep passes. So the matchups against our defense, against his offense, against the Broncos offense, are looking good in our favor. But I almost give it to them for their defense against our offense. But slightly, I mean, we got Peterson going in the right way, but Teddy has been struggling so far in the passing game.
Right.
Which is kind of,
it's
an interesting theory about it was last year, without Peterson, they had McKinnon in a lot more, and I didn't realize that they ran out of the shotgun as much as they did, and they've been saying that Teddy, that's the thing that you hate to hear about is young quarterbacks coming out of college. We'll put him in shotgun, he can't run on a offense under center. Well, Peterson runs good under center quarterback, I formation.
Right.
Teddy, they say, runs good offense in shotgun. So it's like, what do you do? It's just something that we're just going to have to gel with. It's something that all season we're still going to be working on it. I mean, like I said last week, people forget that was the second week that they played together. Well, that was third week we played together. This week it's the fourth week. And I think, like I said, about the bye week is in a perfect spot. Peterson's just getting going. Teddy's getting going here. And Teddy ain't going to go anywhere. He's going to be up at Winter Park the whole next week after the game. And he's determined, man. He's got the poise, everything. He wants to do it, man. So.
No, I get you. Okay. And I basically agree. I agree. Denver's defense is a big key to this game. They're massively ball hawking. They generate turnovers. They have a tremendous rush. This week, remember when we said, is AD just rusty or is he not? Is he really over the hill? Kind of thing. And then we saw our linemen come out the next week and fire off and beat the hell out of people and just, drive them to the dirt and stuff. You remember when we said that? Yeah.
You remember when I said it again? I give him the benefit of the doubt because of stamina.
Right.
And what did he do? He did 1,800-yard dashes.
Right.
And all of a sudden he looked way better.
Right.
So maybe my theory wasn't too far off. I tell you,
it might not be.
First 5-10 yards looked like the old AP. It just wasn't the old after 30 yards AP that we were accustomed to.
Again, AP's never had, as we went over this last week, he's never had the breakaway speed. He's never been a Robert Smith, right? He's never been close, but he's always been catchable if you take the right line. But what I'm saying is, you remember when we said, can we do this? Can we rely on AD even with a line this bad? And then the next week they came out and they started down, and we had even, which to my opinion was the best penalty ever, watching Matt Khalil put somebody on his ass, even if it was a second after the whistle, and get the flag. I thought that was a great penalty. I would take that any goddamn day because that's what we need to be doing, right?
Khalil is kicking ass this year, man.
He really
Give him
is.
the credit, man.
I am totally, dude. You know what, Khalil, dude? If you need a back rub or something, yeah.
Hey, man, I went to your pizza place, man. I kicked ass, all right?
Yeah. I'll carry your laundry or something. I don't care. I can admit I'm wrong, dude. It's okay. No,
I'm glad I'm wrong.
I'm glad I'm wrong.
I am wrong.
Seriously glad. But here's the thing is that it's not going to be the run rush that Denver brings us because, if we keep up what we've been doing and we have that firing off the line and we have that dominant, even if it's not making the holes, but allowing Peterson to bounce to where he needs to get to, that's still, owning the line. It means you're not getting pushed back. It means there's not the penetration, right?
Right.
As long as we keep doing that, okay, the run's fine. What I'm worried about, what I'm concerned with, is keeping the pocket intact. And maybe this may need to be the challenge that Zimmer needs to lay down before our offensive line, is to give Teddy a 3-second pocket and let him make the decisions. Denver's DBs are very good. Seriously, I've been looking over this whole thing. I've been searching stats. And I really can't find a big hole in Denver's defense. They're super solid all the way through. And so it's going to come down to a combination of our offensive line making the pocket for Teddy making good decisions, and perhaps even most crucially, our receivers actually busting out and getting open, right? Because we can run on Peterson's back. He knows this. He understands that feeling, right? But if they shift to that hole, we're going to stop Peterson 8 in the box against Denver. You're not going to be able to run against that. Even if you're Peterson, if they go to 8 in the box, 9 in the box against you, and you can't throw, you're not going to be able to run Peterson because they are very fast. They're ball hawks. They swarm tackle everything. They're a very good defense. So offensively, our key is to set up protection first, Teddy to be mistake-free, and for our receivers to actually step up and prove that they are, starting caliber receivers. I know CJ's out. I understand that. But that means, Wallace, Flashy, time to step up, amigo. Diggs.
So I'm ready to see Diggs. Can you dig it?
Diggs. You want to make a mark? You make a mark now.
Hi, man.
Right. You got to start burning somebody on some routes. You got to start, putting somebody out of their jock before, 5 yards before you get the catch. Otherwise, if Teddy's got nowhere to throw to, because we know Teddy, we watch him every week. He reads his progressions. He goes through them step by step. He's very good about that, right? He still needs to make decisions quicker and sometimes take a little chance and throw somebody open, which is a skill that takes years to learn. We understand, but he still has to do that. But if he can't, if he doesn't have that 3 seconds, that won't work. And if that 3 seconds is not enough, that won't work. And if he has the 3 seconds and it's enough and the receivers aren't open, it doesn't work. So it's this weird triangle with the offense that they all have to be ready for, along with Peterson being able to abuse them and keep them honest, not load 9 in the box. If they load 8, 9 in the box and they can't do that, and Peterson can't run and Teddy can't make reads for 15, 20 yards, then, well, hell, man, I don't know. We don't have the team to do it, but I think we're going to. I really do.
So I'm looking at what are we gonna do? What's the only way we can kind of attack this defense of Denver? I mean, they got Chris Harris, they got Aqib Talib, and even a third cornerback in the depth chart, Roby. He got a really nice interception last week against Detroit. Mm-hmm. I mean, so their corners, man, are going to match up really good against their wide receivers. So it's going to be a tough day, and it's I'm definitely on the betting line. I'm going to take the corners for Denver and holding them less. On that point.
Okay.
But all right, now you got AP.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to find the edge. Well, you got DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller on the edges there. I'm not liking that either. So one key thing is Berger, Fusco, and Harris, the middle of the offensive line. We're going to have to get an offensive push here in the middle going for the running game.
Right.
And another thing, in the passing game, it's going to have to go off a play action to Rudolph, which Teddy in the first couple games has had a nice little connection to.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was a betting man, I would say Rudolph would be the best target in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to beware of the safeties there, to hit them up. But I'm not liking Wallace against Talib. Definitely not liking that.
Right.
Flash, Patterson, if CJ doesn't get the go-ahead to go and he can't play. So let's say Patterson against Harris. Well, no, Harris.
Right. Okay.
And then Diggs or Wright, which actually Wright was actually not even practicing either. So I have a feeling Wright will play, but that's kind of our favor a little bit, but nothing too drastic. The only thing I feel in favor is Rudolph and attacking the running game up the middle.
Right.
It's a tough task, man. It's going to be a low-scoring game in my book.
Right.
Honestly, I'm going to give the score here.
Oh, wow, already? Okay.
I'm going to pop it out right here.
All right. Okay.
Get ready to write it down.
All right.
I am going to go Vikings 17-13.
Wow. All right. You're picking the Vikings. All right. Okay. That's cool. That's good. I think the game's going to come down to a lot of what you said, a lot of the coverages and the matchups you pulled on there, I think are pretty close on. But I think what we have to do is first we have to, even if it's unsuccessful, you're going to see that first quarter be a 0-0 quarter if we're lucky, right? Because we're going to try to establish the run. Because we have to. And then out of that, you'll start working play actions. And then it all comes down to really receivers. It really does. Because they're going to start loading the box against us. And if you don't load the box against us, Peterson will break you by himself. He will break a team. Hell, he's broken teams that loaded 8-9 in the box the entire game. He's capable of it still. He proved it last week. You know, he didn't break that 43-yard runoff on a spread pattern. He broke it off just by being him and being mean. Teams are going to have to respect that. But then, and I hate to say it, I hate to say it, but CJ, as much as I love the guy, being injured is actually kind of a blessing in disguise because it disguises the rest of our receivers. Because now you got Flashy out in the field and everybody wonders what the hell kind of wild card that is. That's like throwing a joker out in a poker match. You don't know what's going to happen now, right? He could be
exactly, because some of the plays that we've seen him already play. He came in. It's like, all right, is this going to be a wide receiver reverse? And a few of them have been. Right. So it's been kind of obviously something's going on. They got him in the game here now in this play. Now he's going to be in a lot more plays, so you never know what's really going to happen.
Right. Is if he goes long, do you ignore coverage on him? And because you can't, because he's so fast and so big and he has good hands still. Yeah, you can't do that. So I see a lot of this weird. This is going to be a really interesting chess match. If you're a student of the game, and I think this is why a lot of networks are picking, a lot of the major media are picking this game up, because not only if you're a student of the game, these are actually this week the only two teams playing this week in Week 4 in the NFL. These are the only two teams with winning records playing each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really surprised. Well, it's probably too early to be doing this, but that they flex it to Sunday night.
I don't think they're going to flex it.
I think they do that a little bit later, but if they would have had the chance to be able to do so, I'm pretty sure they would have moved this game to Sunday night.
They would have already done it if they were going to.
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because the way the Vikings stunk it up last time on primetime. So they don't want to take.
We're not ready for primetime.
They apparently not. No,
that's fine by me.
But this game is going to be a huge chess match, and it's going to be very interesting. If you're a student of the game and you're watching all these little details like that, you're going to see a lot of different matchups, a lot of different formations, and I think. And I've been thinking about it all day today while I've been looking over the stats and looking at the previews and looking at past game film for this year so far. I really think a lot of Norv's strategy has been building up to this week. I really do. I think he's thinking longer than 1 week at a time. I think he's actually building strategy over quarters of a season. And that's where we're at now.
I tell you what, this game is on Norv's shoulders right here.
It is. I think we're going to see a lot of different things come to play. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to have the Viking Horde defense, where you have to have the Viking Horde. You've got to hit Peyton early and often. Even if his backup comes in and turns out to be the next great superstar for Denver, it doesn't matter.
Nothing's going to happen.
You've got to hit him early and often. You've got to pressure. You've got to make him try to do those 2-step drop and throws and then do a pick six off it. You've got to just keep that. You've got to do the Horde thing. It's got to be the same thing we've been doing the last 3 weeks. Pressure, 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 pressure. Give up nothing short. And then long, hey, man, fight every damn half a yard for it or quarter yard or eighth a yard or 16th of a yard. Whatever it takes, you got to fight every step of the way for it. And that's the hard part about this kind of defense. When you're putting that much pressure on, you're leaving your corners and safeties exposed a lot of the time because you're running blitz packages, you're running pressure packages, and you have to rely on them. We're going to see Demaryius Thomas, who is one of the best in the game, bar none. Demaryius Thomas is phenomenal. I've watched Denver because they've been in the late game for like 2 and 3 weeks now, right? The whole season. I've seen a lot of Denver. And Demaryius Thomas, at the end of the game, always seems to rise up and come out of nowhere and make like 4 catches to make 2 scores. And he's not the point maker, but he's the guy that gets him there. So you're going to see Rhodes tape to Thomas. You're going to have Newman cover CJ. You're going to have to cover, you've got your matchup situations there.
Who's going to cover Emmanuel Sanders? That's
Emmanuel Sanders is going to be like your Newman is going to be covering Emmanuel Sanders. He's going to flow. He's going to flow around the underside because they're going to put Rhodes on Thomas. Demaryius Thomas.
I just liked the way that Trey Waynes looked last week.
I think Trey had a brilliant week last week, and I'm really happy with the job he did.
I tell you what. Let's get in this quick little topic about it. The corners that came out in this year's draft. We got Marcus Peters that a lot of us seen if we watch a Green Bay game. He looked damn good. So far, obviously, he had probably about triple amount of snaps as Trey Waynes.
Right.
But the overall grade, percentage-wise, from Pro Football is about the same. But, again, Marcus Peters had a lot more snaps.
Right.
But, in my mind, was this pick a pick of higher ceiling or higher player right now, where Marcus Peters came in a day 1 starter, or was it Zimmer thought, well, the speed, athleticism that the guy had, and the height and everything that he had, I can make this guy even better than anything else?
Well, I can answer that in one word. Kendricks. Same reason we took Kendricks, same reason we took Waynes. They may not have the established pro skills, but they have the ability to accumulate them. They have the intelligence because, they don't just work these guys out and send them home. They talk to them. Yeah. They interview them. They have the intelligence to work it out. They have the physical skills to accomplish it. And in a coach like Zimmer's mind on a defensive mindset, they will fit into what he wants them to be. And he will make them be that. And Kendricks is already becoming that. Wayne's got thrown into it and actually rose to the occasion. I was actually really happy with Waynes last week.
I have to agree with you on that. I think the ceiling on them, when they look back at it, was they have a very high ceiling.
Yep.
And that's why they were very high in the player. And then, matter of fact, that you talked about Kendricks, he actually led the team last week in tackles at 9.
Right.
So, right. I mean, and they're all solo.
Right.
All solo tackles. So I tell you what, he's the first guy in point on them tackles.
I told you, man.
Great thing, man. I'm loving it, man. The guy needs the snaps. He needs the reps.
Let his hair grow out. He'll be the next Polamalu, and just he'll just be the dominant force on this defense for years if you just let him grow into it. Because you see, guys like Zimmer and. At the risk of pissing people off, I'll say our coaches like a guy like Bill Cowher, right?
Yep.
They last a long time in their position not because they pick just the greatest, the best at position in the draft or whatever, not because they target just whoever has the best physical abilities or best stats. They target people who understand what they're trying to do and can accomplish what they're trying to do the best. In other words, it's almost like, and I'm sorry for saying it, it's almost like a Belichick system. You don't have to have the biggest names. You have to have the people that fit your system the best and work with that system and can plug into it, and you realize, you evaluate that talent, and here you go. Now you can run with it. And if you have somebody that breaks that talent mold, then change your game plan around it and work with it. It's a very fluid mindset, and it's very tough to do, but I think we finally have a coach that can do that.
Absolutely.
Right.
So end it with this. What is your score going to be, and what's the outlook?
I'm looking at it, and I think next week is going to be, despite Denver's defense, despite their defense, I think this is going to be a little, I hope, actually, let me hope. And
here comes the homer.
Right. It's a little bit of homer, but I think this might be our coming out party for some of our receivers. Whether it be because we have Diggs pushing some new blood in there, or Thielen getting hooked on a Thielen a couple of times in there, or Flashy showing some flash, or Wallace just being, hey, why do we ignore this Wallace guy? He's really fast. I think we're actually going to pull this one out, and it's going to be a squeaker. It's not a homer thing, but I think it's going to be a mainly defensive battle, but we can't stop the scores kind of thing. We can't have a really plodding offense. I think AP is going to have one, and I think we're going to have 2 passing touchdowns, and I think we're going to have a field goal on top of that and win it 24-21.
What about Flashy being a Rashy?
Hey, you know what? If Flashy runs one back, hey, that's just bonus. That's icing on 28-21. Then I'll take that, but
I'll be doing a Rassie on that one. I'll be racing it.
Exactly, right? But I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a really hard-fought game because I think there's a lot of pride in this game, and I think the Vikes have been looking at this game, not the players, but I think the staff has been looking ahead at this game and saying, this needs to be our coming out party, and I think we're going to show up.
Interesting stat before we end the show is Zimmer coach team, either defense coordinator or obviously he's never played him as a head coach, but he's only 1-5 or 1-6. I don't know exactly against the Peyton Manning led team. So,
well, the Vikings themselves are 0-3 against Peyton Manning led teams.
I tell you what, though, I like them numbers. You know why?
It's due.
Because it's definitely damn due.
Right. It's
Let's
not
do it.
You're right. It's not due like 00 on a roulette wheel. It's due like 1 or 2 on a roulette wheel.
Yeah, I don't want 5-1 and
right. Yeah. We've got 2 choices. One's going to come due. You flip a coin how many times? Yeah, exactly.
Zimmer wants it. He does. Get this win, man.
This is our statement game, and this is our first statement game, and this is a game that Denver doesn't need the statement. Denver needs to, say, okay, we're still on top, but we need to make the statement that no, we're actually here, and we're gonna start destroying people. And
yeah, we're here for real.
Right, and attitudinally, I think we've got more to lose in terms of our attitude and our team direction. So I think we're going to be playing harder for that.
Amen, brother.
Amen. That being said, we both agree it's going to be a Vikings weekend this week again. I might sit out in my driveway to replicate the tailgate party we had up at TCF Stadium this past weekend. Thank you to all of you who made that out there, and from VikeFans.com. All of you who made it out there, all you guys. I love all you guys. I seriously do.
And we love the Vike fans out there and Vike Fans Nation.
But yeah, we will be back next week with another Horns Up. In the meantime, though, hey, keep those horns up, rock on out, and watch some Vikes and cheer with us, man. Hey, wait, next week's bye week, isn't it?
Well, we got maybe a little treat coming in. I've been in contact with some people, so we should definitely have some guests coming up in the future weeks. And this next week, we're going to do a quarterly report on the season and take a look at the outtakes of the past 4 weeks and take a look at the future.
All right, so there you go. All right, to all you guys out there, Vike fans, everybody out there, we love you all. We'll see you next week.
Horned up!